Hey, Soraya, how's it going?
All right, how about you?
I'm doing okay. Besides allergies, I'm doing pretty good.
Oof, let me tell you, things are kicking up here in Southern California, but we
They
won't
are.
talk about that. We
No,
won't
no,
talk.
no, no. Let's talk about something fun.
I say let's talk about some fun music, fun new music.
Yes, and a surprise out of nowhere.
Well, not entirely out of nowhere. We do have a fairy godfather who makes magical things happen.
Yes, indeed. And I,
And his name is Ronnie Barnett,
yeah,
our guest host with the most. But what he was able to do was bring up an episode idea, and we were all in. So, Jeff, why don't you let our listeners know who is going to be joining us all today?
yes, today we're talking to Murray Attaway, who has this great new release, signed to his pals from the Paisley stage. Raspberry and Rhyme. Tense music plays. So we haven't heard new music from Murray in quite a while.
30
And
years.
look, beautiful
Oh,
tangerine
look at that.
vinyl. So it looks gorgeous. Only on vinyl and streaming services. So we'll have to figure out why he decided to go that route.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's been quite a while since his first and only other um, solo release. But we all originally knew about Murray from his work with
Ooh,
Guadalcanal Diary, um, which who we're big fans of. So yeah, these records for a band that was around for 4 albums, and then Murray went and did Enthrall, which is a another
yes.
great album, and then a few decades of silence as far as music goes. There's an interesting podcast, Dazzle Dudes, that I'm gonna want to talk about for a brief minute. I know our time is limited, but we definitely want to get into tense music plays with this fantastic record. So Murray Attaway is our guest today, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Well, then I say let's just jump into it. Let's get started.
Let's do it.
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff,
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme.
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, agruviar.
Let's get groovy. All right, Soraya, you want to get us started here? We're very excited about today.
Absolutely. So, joining us today, of course, is our guest host, Ronnie Barnett, but the one and only Murray Attaway, Guadalcanal Diaries, but also of the newly released, Jeff, hold it up, Tense Music Plays. Welcome, 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 Murray. Thank you so much for joining us today.
A
Thanks for
beautiful
having me.
tangerine vinyl too.
Yes, it's clear you could seize your hand through it, which
It's
is the
gorgeous.
best thing about it. I mean, to me, the vinyl anyway. Yeah.
But the music. So maybe we could get started with the title. Murray, I am an avid closed caption reader to my to the detriment of my children and grandchildren who are like,
Mhm.
"How old are you, Grandpa? How old are you, Dad?" And I've seen tense music plays come up a couple times, but I wanted to know where did you get the title for this?
Well, you, you outed me, Jeff. That's where I got the title from. Actually, I've been watching I'm going to take it out of the age thing. I've been watching closed caption television since I can remember, and it was my child who got me started on it because we were watching when they were still living with me back in the aughts. We were watching a lot of maybe we were watching a lot of British stuff, and the accent was tough to not always easy to navigate through for them, and so they said let's put on the captions, and so I got hooked on it years and years and years ago. Having said that, yeah, I'm more grateful for them now than I used to be, but it's just a thing. I don't even notice it. You know, I everything we watch is my wife and I with captions on, except Bill Maher. You can't watch Bill
Yeah.
Maher with captions on because his captions are all screwed up. Same thing with John Oliver. You can't watch him with captions either because the captions are real laggy. I don't know why they don't fix it. Everything else on HBO's
Well,
okay, but not
except
those
stand-up
two shows.
comedy, stand-up comedy specials.
Really?
It doesn't work
Really?
for that for me. Well, I find myself reading the joke.
Oh yeah, well you get the joke ahead.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
Some,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but I'm so used to it now that something in my brain doesn't actually hear the punchline until they say it, even though it's on the screen. I don't know how that works, but it does. Uh, Self-censoring, I guess. Yeah, that's where it came from, Jeff. You spotted it. So yeah, the secret is out now. Usually you see tense music playing, but I thought tense music plays sounded better. And you do occasionally see it. So I could maybe start a series of it, because ominous music plays or sinister music plays,
It's a
joyful music plays.
it's a
Just do a
great,
whole line of them.
yep,
Just
great title
churn them
nonetheless.
out like flexi discs in the 70s.
Right. This is your first record in a long time, Murray. So
Yeah, 32 years it has been
So
since I put a record out.
a few decades since the last solo
And,
record,
and
Intro.
speak of the devil, there it is. Yes, Enthrall.
This one had some great guest stars or guest players on it.
That was my
Kellner,
Hollywood record.
yeah,
Yeah,
Nicky Hopkins, Jackson Brown. There's
yeah.
tons of.
Jackson was great. He and I got to be friends for a long time and hung out. He did stuff back in Atlanta with me at one point. Yeah, good guy. I wish I'd kept up with God. Half the people that were on that record were really cool people. I wish I'd kept up with John Bryan. He was on it too. He was a really interesting guy. But
yeah.
I'm bad about that. I mean, when I quit something, like I really quit it. Doors slammed. I went on to other things.
I
But
noticed looking at the credits, Murray, your A&R guy was the same guy who signed Guns N' Roses too.
Tom Zutaut, yeah,
Yeah.
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 For Geffen, yeah, he was. Yeah, he signed Guns N' Roses. He signed me. He signed Edie Brickell. He signed Steve Forbert. Actually, I remember he signed
Oh.
Steve Forbert to Geffen for a while. Tom had interesting and wide-ranging taste. He'd gotten known from signing God, to Elektra, another middleman.
Oh,
This is terrible. I can't think of who it was.
It wasn't
Mo-
Motley Crue.
Motley Crue, yeah, it was.
Motley
Um,
Crue.
It was the Crew. Yeah, he signed the Crew to Elektra. That put him on the map. And he was up for. I was like, David Geffen came along and said, "Hey, I'll make you a better deal than that one." So,
Yeah. And then he
but yeah, he
signed
was he
Murray.
was a fan all along. Yeah,
Then
and
he
he signed
signed.
me, and it was all over. He signed me, and he lost his job.
No.
They're like, "What have you done? How dare you spend this much money on this guy?"
The Crew was almost as good as the Dazzle Dudes. Not quite as good as Dazzle Dudes, but great band. I was gonna ask at the beginning if you could conduct the whole interview in one of the voices from Dazzle Dudes, but maybe we'll get into that
Oh,
later.
yeah, I can pick one.
Well, I definitely like the narrator, so
Yeah, he's easy to do. That's Freaky Dink Fingerhut. That's an easy one. You know, plenty of those guys are still around. They're back doing it. Yeah, he almost sounds like Carl from Sling Blade a little bit, I guess, when I do him now. I have to get more into the right mood. But I could do like the singer because the singer's like really, Jesse's really, really easy to do because he's really laid back and can't really take anything seriously because he's got no intention of ever growing up or having a job or making, living off something. I mean, he's an artist. Okay, I'm done.
so
You
for
should probably
those
explain. Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead, Jeff.
yeah, for those who don't know and who haven't listened, Murray released
Murray is schizophrenic and he was parading it in front of us for that. Yeah. For
in
those of you who don't
addition
know about his mental illness, there it is for all to see. Sorry.
in addition to that, there is a podcast. There's 2 seasons available, a couple dozen episodes for each season that you started in 2019 through 2020. I think you originally stopped to work on a solo record,
I did.
and I think COVID may have played a part, but that was
Well,
what, 5 years ago?
yeah, I quit the last episode was dropped in 2020, and I was already thinking about making the record that I just made. But yeah, it was COVID. It was some other stuff. I have a web development outfit that I run, and I ended up with some larger contracts during COVID than I would have ever guessed I was going to have during COVID. So it kind of took me out of the loop from it for a bit. But then once I got done with that, I started working on this album, sort of piecing it together. And I hadn't gotten back to the Dazzle Dudes yet. But I want to. I've done so many hours in the day. That was great. Doing that podcast was a great um, tactic of discipline for me because I had to have all of it. This was self-imposed restrictions. I had to have all of it recorded, edited, produced, and ready to go, and all the web stuff done with it too, by midnight every Thursday night. And I did it, and I was really proud of myself. I felt really adult for doing this, and got it out, And it's the 42 episodes of the thing, so
And so
but it's really fun to do.
one a week, about 15 to 20 minutes each episode.
Yeah, yeah, they weren't real long, except for the spectaculars. There was a couple of specials that were like 45 minutes to 60 minutes, I think, but not many. Yeah, it took a lot. You're right, they were pretty short. I mean, it was all you needed. I mean, how long can you listen to that? It's too dense. I mean, 20 minutes is enough.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about the music. So for those who don't know, Dazzle Dudes was about a fledgling rock band uh trying to get their footing down. There's a bunch of relationships or
Yeah,
relationships that shouldn't happen. There's labels that get involved. But there's music.
yeah,
There's music. I imagine, Murray, that you did most of the music.
I did all of it. I did all of it. My wife did one voice one time, and decided she didn't want to do anymore. Uh, yeah, I did all the characters' voices, and I wrote all the songs. Wrote almost all of the episodes again. My wife Layla actually kicked in some ideas for some of them, so that was helpful. But yeah, I did all of that stuff. It's uh, just the overall explanation of it is it's a fictitious podcast, like you said, about these four really naive guys in the mid '70s in a small town in central Georgia, of course, trying to start a glam rock band. They don't really even know exactly what a glam rock band is, but one of them's got a Bowie album, so they're figuring they got a line out. They know what it is. They can do this. Before they were the Dazzle Dudes, they were the Boogie Bros. So, but bros, not bros, because there was no bros yet. There was bruh, and they're the Boogie Bros. So they figure that the world is their oyster. They can do whatever they think they can do. Yeah, that's the basis of the storyline.
Yeah,
And
go
like you
listen
said,
to
they
it.
get involved with all these different characters too. So,
Yeah, yeah.
You sure that's fictional, Murray? You sure it's fictional?
well,
Serious?
it's not totally fictional. No, I will say almost none of it happened to me personally.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it happened to other people that I know, though. So not anybody that you would know if I mentioned them.
So
Yeah,
any
it was inspired by others.
so anywhere where you can find our podcast, you can find Dazzle Dudes, and there's a web page. Sounds like
Yep,
Murray that you put that out, and in the web page it says that the Dazzle Dudes are taking a break while Murray
a
works
five
on
year
work.
a 5 year break. Well, Murray puts an album out. Yeah,
So
that
you
probably got me to thinking, okay, it's time to do this. Anyway,
so you finally get to this, and it sounds like you got some help with Mark Williams.
Mark Williams, yeah, that album wouldn't sound like it sounds without Mark Williams. Mark Williams was he's mixed and engineered and produced more things than I could tell you, but uh, I met him because he worked with Don Dixon on Guadalcanal's fourth album. He was the head engineer at Reflection Studio in Charlotte, and I ended up, yeah, that one. And I ended up working with Mark on some other projects after that. We got on really well, and so he was semi-retired. And but we're friends, and so he knew that I was getting ready to start something. He said, I mix that for you if you want it. And I was like, okay, yeah. Now it'll be a real record because if I had done it by myself, it wouldn't sound like that. It would have sounded like bedroom tapes probably.
Which
Anyway,
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah.
good. Thank you. I'm glad to hear you say that.
So
Yeah,
eight songs.
he made it real. So his involvement. And also admit that I had to actually really kind of get serious about doing it. But he's patient, man. It took 2 years to do this.
So four
So
songs a year sounds like it's an eight song eight song record. So
now that you mention it, yeah, I guess it did sort of break down like that. I never really thought of it that way.
one
Well,
song a quarter.
you can't tell, Murray. It's coherent. Like it hangs together as
Well,
like a,
thanks, Ronnie.
yeah, yeah. I have a copy over here, by the way. I can't hold it up like Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, because you're busy with that thing in your lap. I see that.
Yeah, yeah, no, I've moved it. Yeah. Well, that too. No.
Yeah.
Hey Jeff, hold up that flip flop again. Did that have a? I wanted to ask you about this. What's the sticker? No, move it a little bit. That sticker there, it's some kind of audio file thing, right? Like Guadalcanal Diary had like I remember Jamboree was like HMM metal mastering and stuff. Like
Yeah, I remember that too. I
on the
hadn't thought
promo.
about it in
What?
years.
Yeah, yeah, there it is. Like, what's
Yeah.
the audio file angle to Guadalcanal Diary, Murray?
Uh, you'd have to ask Electra that because that was their doing. I don't really. Can you, Jeff? You're gonna have to say something so it'll show you full screen again. Just say hi or something.
Oh,
Say
here I
hi.
am. Here I am.
Now hold it up.
All right. So
DMM. Oh, direct
Yeah,
metal mastering. Does the other one say the same thing?
no, it says audio file
yeah, audio.
pressed on
Same thing
pressed
with a
on.
different name, right? Like,
Yeah. We were putting stuff. The band was putting stuff like no animals were harmed or killed during the making of this recording. That's
yeah,
what we put in. We didn't have anything to do with those stickers. Now that I see them, though, if I do another record, I'm going to start putting stickers all over it to
yeah.
draw in audio files.
Yes, it's kind of
I
your
think
thing.
well, you should know this. I think there are people out there who will just buy stuff if it says things like that on it, right?
Absolutely.
120 grams.
Yeah.
Let me get out my credit card.
Yeah. DMM mastering. This sounds
Yeah, but it's
good.
just this guy
Yeah.
groaning all the way through. I don't care. It sounds perfect.
No, it's just interesting because you didn't see that on every record, right? But
No.
you did on these Guadalcanal Diary,
Well,
records.
you probably saw him on the Cure albums that came out around the same time from Electric too. So, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was like
It was probably
thing.
just a phase everybody was going through.
Well, definitely. Just like when digital recording came out, you'd see that.
Yeah.
All digital recording.
All digital recording. Yeah.
There's another sticker you can put on your next record.
Yeah, it's meaningful. All digital, except I had to go backwards. All mechanical recording. I can't even say analog. I was have to say all mechanical recording. In other words, we cranked up the turntable and got the wax hot, and then we dropped it, and the horn, picked up everything. So yeah.
Yep.
I would like to make a record like that. You got one chance.
Yeah.
So Murray, I'm one of those
wax
guys
cools
that.
off, you're screwed.
Oh yeah.
True.
I was gonna say I'm one of those guys that look at everything like from top to bottom, and I'm looking through all the credits, see if there's anybody I recognize. And I noticed that the photographer, Terry Allen, I think there might be a connection to Trent Allen, the siblings, maybe.
Yeah, that's Trent's older brother.
Okay.
Yeah. He also very likely took the photograph that's on that album you just had in your hand.
The Dream's So Real. Yeah. So
yeah.
I have a buddy, Lee Collins, who lives in Georgia, and he gives me lots of information about Georgia bands. In fact, I think he was front row at a Guadalcanal Diary show. He told me that you made a comment to him because he was dancing right in front of the stage. He thinks it was 84, 85 at the Electric Kangaroo in Statesboro. Yeah. So,
okay.
Okay, and I think
what did I purportedly say to him? I hope it was not mean.
No. I think you said like this guy knows how to dance or something along those lines.
Yeah, that sounds more like me. Okay, good.
So yeah, he's reporting out to me on the happenings from Georgia since we're on the opposite coast here. So I think he said there was a connection between the Allen brothers. So
there's a blood connection. They're brothers. Yes, they're both actually really good friends of mine to this day.
Great.
Yeah,
Another
Terry
great
shot that.
band, Dream
Uh,
Soraya.
yeah, they're terrific band. They still occasionally converge, you know. And they actually played. We did a benefit for Jeff Walls when he passed away in Athens in 2019, and they were one of the bands that played it, and they just were the best group there all night. They just killed. Everybody was really good. We had Dixon came down, and Don Dixon came down and did it, and just a bunch of folks.
Nice.
But Dreams Are Real was like that was the best I'd ever seen them play, and I've seen them play lots because they used to open for us, and we'd see them in other venues. They were a good band.
Great band. Yeah.
Yeah, for especially for an Athens band, they were a very mainstream minded band, and they used to get a lot of crap for that, and I didn't think it was fair because I mean they made good records at the end. So what do you need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we
Well,
talk about the artwork on Tense Music Plays? So there's
Yes,
there I got
yes,
it. Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
So how did this come together and putting the artwork, the visual down? Was this something that you were involved with?
Yeah, I came up with that idea. I was overseas, and I was at a little gallery looking through some stuff, and came across this design and sort of sketched it out on my phone and sent it to my friend Jody Hirsch, who is a designer, but like a lot better one than me. And she put that together. She's like, oh, she recognized it. Oh, she's been looking at Swiss school stuff, and I said, yeah, that's right. That's what I've been doing. And
Of
but
course
you're
it
right, Jody. I sure was. And so she put it into that form. Yeah, I loved it. As soon as she got those amoebas floating around, I was like, yeah, that's it. So it worked for me.
awesome. This has
It
great
makes a
sound.
cool T-shirt too. I might add.
Oh, yeah. We're gonna have to get
Yeah,
one of those, Ronnie.
Yeah. I didn't know about the t-shirts.
I can hook you up.
Awesome.
I know a guy.
Also, Murray, I got to ask about the record because I've bugged you a couple times online as a stranger. CD release.
But you weren't really
What?
a stranger. I know who you are. So
Okay,
that
all
sort
right.
of
Well, I'm the guy
defeats the whole purpose.
I'm the guy been bugging you about releasing it on CD. What are
Yeah,
your
I
thoughts?
remember that.
What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, for what you personally want a CD of it?
Well, I do. Well, I do. But I also think I think it deserves. A lot of people don't think they. I'm not saying you. I'm trying to. A lot of people don't put things on CD, and a lot of old people still buy them. I'm talking
Yeah,
about myself. Yeah,
I had to kind of vet that, since I did all of this is all self-release.
yeah,
That means that, I
right.
financed all of it. So I had to kind of vet what the formats were going to be. I knew I personally wanted it on vinyl,
Yeah,
and I knew plenty of people that also wanted it on vinyl. I
Me,
couldn't really, I couldn't really vet the CD demographic, though. I still don't know it.
yeah.
But I must admit, I'm not surprised to find as many people as I've come across ask me the same question. So yeah, maybe I should do one of those and just offer them.
Yeah,
I mean, I got nothing against CDs. It's just more money that I need to spend as the record label owner,
I
as
got
the
you.
the label boss here.
Yes,
Yeah.
I totally
But it's
understand that.
it's not a big cash outlay. I mean, if you really think so, then maybe I should do
Yeah,
it.
you could do. I mean, you could just do those little simple cardboard sleeves, and I don't think it's that much of an investment.
No, it's not.
Maybe I'll get Jeff. We'll get Jeff to pay for
I think
Okay.
I think for my CD, I did 100 copies. It cost me $300. So it's like, but the
Yeah. I mean,
more,
I know the cost of them. Actually, hold on a second.
it.
what'd you start here, Ronnie? You started something.
Yeah. Well, it's
I know how
not.
much they cost
There you go. Look
Oh,
at that. Okay. Okay.
because I had to do these for there are radio folks and writers who really still want CDs. And
Yeah.
so I got hip to that, and here these are. So
Oh, we are going to have to talk then, Murray.
we
yeah, yeah.
One good thing you did the vinyl first. One thing people they make the mistake of blowing up the CD graphic, And then
Oh,
the barcode on the record ends up like quarter of the size of the record.
no, fortunately, I'm in a business that I would know better than that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I don't know, but I actually do know that. So,
Yeah. No, it's
yeah,
a pet peeve of mine. Yeah, when I see that.
yeah, mine too. Make it bigger. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that doesn't always translate. I have
Yeah.
a Murray, I got a couple questions about the music. I for me, my personal favorites are the bookends with Breath and You Were There. But I did have a question. Old Christmas. Which I love the song. And I noticed that throughout your catalog, here and there, there's biblical references or um ties to Christianity or spiritual topics. Can you talk a little bit about
Yeah,
that?
sure. I've talked about that lots and lots in my life. Yeah, I mean, there's always a lot of spirituality in not all of my lyrics. Like, I don't think Country Club Gun has a lot of spirituality, and I don't think What Tuesday Rodeo does either. But uh, those kind of stuff. But I mean, and I still write stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, spirituality is a big part of my life, and that's pretty much the long and short of it. But the biblical references, people always notice those. They never notice the reference. They never notice the stuff that I stole from Eliot. Like, I never get called out on the stuff I stole from poets or or from like Bukowski or stuff. I go, oh, you got that line from Bukowski. I know I did. I'm glad you caught it. I never get that. I always get the biblical ones though. Everybody always catches those. They're I use, just like anybody else does, I use bits and pieces that have meant something to me, and I might craft them a little bit, or I might just, stick the line in as is because they mean something to me. And it's a way of paying homage and at the same time getting an idea across. That's really what it is. I'm not uh, I'm not an evangelist for any faith. Like I said, I'm very much a deist and I'm very spiritual in a lot of ways, but that's pretty much it. I wouldn't go out on a limb and say, oh, I'm this, I'm that flavor on. The flavors I don't land on one necessarily.
Yeah, I was more asking towards the
I
how.
misunderstood your question. You
No,
wanted
no,
to know
no,
something
no, no,
entirely different,
no, no,
and
no.
I
You
rambled
answered.
on.
You
That
answered.
happens with me.
You answered perfectly. But just to be clear, I was asking and how that relates to your lyrics. Not necessarily your personal views, but just pulling that in. And I appreciate your answer. Thank you so much for that.
I want to piggyback on that if I can. I found this,
Finally,
you know,
I
I
thought you just weren't going to talk at all.
no, I do talk quite a bit actually, but
Yeah.
thank Um, Jeff knows and Ronnie knows I'm a person that I love the story. I love listening to the lyrics and thinking about them and letting them kind of sit in my brain. I came across this quote from a review of Tense Music Plays, and I wanted to share that and ask a little question about it.
Sure.
It says, the album feels personal but not precious, polished but not preened. It's the work of a songwriter who has lived enough life to know which stories matter and how to tell them. And now that you've added the detail that it was about a 10-year process in the making. How did you select the stories you wanted to tell on this album?
Who wrote that, by the way?
So this came from a review by Stevie Connor, and the site is called thesoundcafe.com.
Okay, that's really really nice little bit there. He really listened to it, didn't he? Uh, how did I decide on what stories to tell? That's a good question. I didn't really decide. They because it's the way, this is going to sound really stupid, but I can't help it. I'm going to have to be honest. The way anything comes out with me like that is really organic. I don't really feel like I have that much of a hand in it. It's what shows up and makes sense in the context of the rest, the relationship to the rest of the music. I'll tell you this though, not to be too opaque about it. Uh, "Old Christmas" was the first song that I worked on for this record, and I've said this in interviews since the record came out. I thought the whole album was going to sound like "Old Christmas." I really did. When I started it, I thought that this kind of offbeat sort of Max Fleischer cartoon sounding kind of thing that I really want this record to sound like. And then, of course, as the other stuff, other material sort of started to emerge, it didn't fit that sound, so I couldn't go with it. But I mean, at some point, to me, you have the. Let's say I had 12 things I was looking at putting on this record. Only the ones that fit together, and you just sort of know instinctively what fits together. I mean, don't you think that's true? Don't you guys feel that way
Absolutely.
about?
Yep, yep.
So
Yeah.
I don't know that I can be so directed about it, Soraya. Because it just kind of like, for instance, there's a song on here called Never Far Away that I literally recorded right at the end of this. And the version you hear is pretty much, I came up with the song. It just kind of showed up one day. And by the next day, I had the song. And it was about something really personal that had just taken place in the previous year out in Los Angeles, as a matter of fact. And uh, I sent it to Mark, and he was like, "Well, you have to put this on the record. Just put it, let me just mix it a little bit and clean it up just a touch sound wise. Just put it on the record just like that." So that's what I did, and it very nearly didn't show up because then he didn't even have the song. It was right towards the end of the sessions. Hell, we'd already mixed, I think, and mastered
Wow.
at least half the record
Wow.
by that time. So that happens, it happens to me anyway. Maybe I'm just bad at decision making. Maybe I'm romanticizing poor decision making. I don't know, but you just seem to know what will fit. You can only guess. I mean, this could have been a really, really bad selection of poor music, and I wouldn't have known. I was just like, well, it sounds great to me. That's the problem with working in a relative vacuum. You don't have. It's like the opposite of being on a major label. And
Right.
you don't have too many people telling you what to do. You have no one.
Right.
Like Mark Williams was great. Layla Attaway was great. My wife. They were the two big voices, and I sent it to friends. Like I think I sent one to Holzapfel, early on, and the rest stuff, and some other people like that, just and Dixon, So just listen to this and tell me what you think. But they'll never be objective. So, oh, it's so great you're doing it again. I said, yeah, I know all that, but do these
Yeah.
work? Yeah,
Right.
it's great, Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, if you want
Thanks for
somebody
your input.
objective, send it to Ronnie. But unfortunately, we do that with the podcast sometimes.
Yeah.
If Ronnie's not on, but the bad thing about sending something to Ronnie and asking for an opinion, you're going to get it. So that's
Well, that Mark and Layla are both like that too. I mean, I said to them,
Yeah.
don't. I mean, they're both really, really nice people, but they can have things when they need them, and so you sort of go, look, don't be nice about this. I really need to know. So
Yeah. Better that than.
yeah.
Murray, we're running out of time. I know we got to talk some more about Guadalcanal Diary.
Okay.
I got it. Did anybody ever misspell that name?
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that. I hope I'm not imagining this, but I think it was real. I think we saw it like sometime when we were doing one of our early little club tours. I'm pretty sure we saw it on one of those trailer signs.
Yeah.
Like as Guadalajara Diary or something
Oh,
like that.
that's
They hadn't even bothered, There's it's something like that. Find a word, guacamole, that word. Yeah, we saw it misspelled quite a bit. Gaudle was a big one. Gaudle.
Oh, Goddle. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do that, by myself.
Yeah.
I have to type it out.
No,
It's a lot of syllables.
exactly what I was envisioning. The trailer sign, the sign with the
It's a lot.
letters.
Yeah, it's exactly with the letters, and like one of them doesn't fit the rest of the letters. It's
Yes.
much
Yeah.
easier to spell the muffs than it is Guadalcanal Diary, believe me.
Yeah. Well,
Although I
other
bet
problems with that.
I bet that came with its own complications.
I was gonna
too.
say,
Yeah.
yes. It means mistake, okay, people. Yeah,
Yeah. You keep claiming that. You keep claiming that.
it does. DB Records. I want to talk about DB Records because
Sure.
that store, he's still in the business. That store, Wax and Facts, still open. Like it's amazing.
Still open. Yeah.
Yeah.
I started going there when I was in high school. And actually Harry DeMille, who was Danny Beard's partner, just passed away a few months ago.
Oh.
But yeah, Wax Effects was Danny Beard started DB Rex,
Yeah.
and he started it essentially by putting out Rock Lobster for the B-52s. That was its first release, and then he went on and put out like everybody that you know of from that area and that time period, like Pylon,
Yeah.
uh, the Coolies, one of my favorite bands from them. Play Harper's stuff is great. Just um, I forget.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah,
Zeitgeist. Yeah.
Zeitgeist. Yeah, Zeitgeist. God, that's reaching back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what's Vic Varney's first group, because I can think of Go Van Go, but that's not the one. Shoot, I can't think of it. It's just as a duo. Anyway, Danny had really interesting taste, really good taste, and he put out a lot of good stuff. And I'm sure I've forgotten to mention half of it, but he put out the first Guadalcanal Diary record. He and I are actually related by marriage, and we didn't know it. We knew each other for
Oh,
like
wow.
10 years before we just sort of found out about it one day. This is Georgia, so
Yeah.
the stuff they say is kind of true.
But yeah. No, and Sean Bourne, you must know Sean.
Oh yeah,
Works
yeah.
at the store. Yep.
I knew Sean when he was in college in Athens. Yeah, I've known all these people a long, long time.
No, he
Well,
worked for the Brains, one of my favorite bands, the Brains.
yeah. He actually
Yeah.
went out with Guada for a brief period.
Oh, wow.
Did you know the Brains? Did you know Tom Gray?
I didn't know. I mean, I was a kid. I saw them when I was 15 on the second album
Yeah, me
tour
too.
in Houston.
Me too.
Yeah. And still one of the best shows I ever saw.
Yeah.
And when the Georgia Satellites came out, who I love too, but I was like,
Yeah.
Rick Price plays bass? I
Yeah.
didn't understand. I didn't get it. Yeah.
The guy that signed us to Elektra signed them to Elektra.
Oh, wow.
Kevin
Wow.
Patrick, still a friend of mine. Just saw him in New York a couple months back.
Murray, we've waited 3 decades for new music from you, other than the great music from the podcast, of course, Dazzle Dudes. Do we have to wait another 3 decades for more music?
No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do an album of Dazzle Dude songs. I think no, they have enough music for 2 albums.
I mean,
No,
they're all over TV with all their commercial spots. So yeah, and might as
no,
well be on my
I'm gonna
radio.
do a new one. I've already started it. I get bored easily. I mean, I never really stopped it. I guess when I started this other record, there's more. I have to keep doing it till I'm empty. I guess I don't know. But yeah, I feel funny coming back and doing this because I had a lot to learn about the landscape. I had to learn how to put an album out myself, self released LP. I really didn't want to put it with an indie, even though I did talk to a few of them. That I didn't think that I was going to get. It was going to be an equitable agreement from anybody on both sides, and that I would not invest in me if I were an indie, because I can't guarantee you the things that people want. Like I can't tell you, oh, I'm going to go out on tour, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do anything that resembles an actual tour like the old days. So I play dates that make sense and places that make sense, but no, there's no reason for me to go beat myself to death in clubs. It's not 1985 anymore.
Right.
So,
So speak about playing shows. I know you've played a couple, and you even had a guest star with Rhett.
I did, yeah. She got on stage with us in Athens when we did the record release show in Athens. Yeah, originally I'd asked her to play bass, and she was like, "Okay," and I said, "Great, it's ready to start practicing." Okay. About a month later, she called up. I don't think I can do it. And I was like, "Okay." I knew that was going to happen. So you got to come up and sing with me on Vista. So she did, and then she stayed on stage like two, three more songs, bopping around. So it was great. Yeah, I love her so much, and she's very dear to me, and so I was really happy that she agreed to do that. It was a lot of fun that night. It was, yeah.
Nice. Everyone in Guadalcanal Diary was such a great player. Like you couldn't have cast that band better, Murray. I'm not just saying that because you're here.
I thought I was. No, I thought I was the weak link,
Well,
and still think that. I mean, especially live because you could watch her bop around. Jeff was fantastic. John
yeah,
was amazing. All I
unbelievable.
did was just stand there and act, cynical.
It worked. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Did John continue to play drums after that band? I mean,
John has lived in San Francisco for years and years. He did do some stuff. He did some demo work of his own material. He's a good songwriter. Uh,
okay.
he's pretty much a multi-instrument guy. But I don't know that he ever really pushed it hard enough to sort of put anything out. I'm not sure what his current situation musically is. I mean, I keep up with him,
No, God,
but
he's
I
just
don't
one of
know
those
what he's
guys.
doing.
Yeah, he's one of those guys you think some big band would snap him up, you know?
Yeah, I
Um,
know it. And I think John's deal was he didn't really want to keep playing drums. He wanted to
okay.
front a band or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is sad because he's one of the best drummers I've ever seen or heard in my life. And he's one of those
Yeah.
drummers that other drummers go, God, that guy. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, I'd love to play with him again. Who knows?
Yeah.
The guy that played on the tracks, the three tracks on this album is great too, though. That's Robert Schmidt, and he's pretty much got the same sort of DNA as John has. He was the original drummer for the Swimming Pool Cues,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
he's phenomenal. He's a great friend of mine too. So that was that was a decision by Mark and Layla after I had programmed drums for my songs, and they were just like,
Mm.
just call the guy, just call Robert, and take the stick out of your ass and call your friend Robert and make this sound like it's supposed to. Okay. So
I'm
Good
glad
anyway,
you
I
choice.
did that.
I'm glad you did that, Murray.
Me
Yeah.
too.
A question about availability. I know this is a pretty fairly limited vinyl record. And I know that the label owner actually goes out and delivers to the post office on a bicycle, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he
I've
does.
seen photos of this
You
guy.
know, that's actually real. That's not a joke. I was taking I was taking a handful of records to mail that day, and Layla just took a shot of it. I mean, but post office I use is not that far. I ride my
Mhm.
bike every day. Yeah, I thought it was kind of fun. So yeah, that's real. But how do you get it? You go to murrayattaway.com and get it. You can hear it you can hear three of the songs on Spotify and Apple Music and what have you, and Prime, all the stuff, Tidal, I guess. I guess I'm going to release it to streaming the whole thing pretty soon. I wanted to give people a chance to own it that wanted to own it early, that not just like I want people to be able to buy vinyl because I wanted to buy vinyl. I buy vinyl from people that I like,
Mhm.
from their music, and I'll hopefully everybody puts that on vinyl so I can get a copy of it, right? So I wanted to be able to do that. But I also wanted people that didn't want the vinyl but wanted digital to be able to get a copy of it before it went to streaming
Right.
Okay.
because it's ultimately got to go to streaming. This is the world we're in.
Yeah.
Whether I like that or not is really beside the point. I've got to do it, but I was holding off on it.
Mhm.
But we put three singles out on it. So you got Breath and Stars Behind the Moon and Hole in the Ground. All three are out on streaming and can be heard there, fab listeners, on your favorite platform. But yeah, if you want to get a copy of that vinyl album, and it is a limited run, there's still a few copies left at murrayattaway.com. Yes, sir.
Nice.
Or murrayattaway.bandcamp.com too. You get it at
Right.
Bandcamp.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
more direct. If you go to my website, then you got to dig through all my videos and hoo-ha and all the stuff that I want you to look at before you actually get to buy a record. So,
And
but you should
Bandcamp
do
doesn't
that.
have to take a chunk. Bandcamp doesn't take a chunk either. So buy from
Yeah,
Murray. Buy from
yeah.
Murray, everybody. Yeah.
Actually, they do. I was so swamped that I just linked to it on my
Yeah.
site.
Yeah.
I didn't set up Square or Stripe or anything for my site.
Right.
I just go get it at Bandcamp. So
And there's
get it
always
at Bandcamp, kids.
there's always Bandcamp Fridays where the artist gets more of the money. So
Yeah,
yeah. Not that I
I'm
suggest.
not complaining. I mean, it's sold fine.
Yeah.
I've had to do multiple runs of it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then the good thing for people that use Bandcamp, if you buy it but you don't have a turntable, you still get this great art that you can frame and put on the wall. But
Very
they'll also provide you with download links where you could listen to it digitally. So you get the best of
Mhm.
both worlds. So
with a bonus track. There's a
yes,
bonus track there.
That's right.
Little Birds.
Little Birds, new version of Little Birds. Yes.
So is there a reason why you didn't put that on the vinyl? Is it because
Because we didn't do it till after the record was done,
ah,
and I didn't want to put even though it's a cover of my song, I didn't want to put that on this record. But I like that version. That's on the Balka on violin. She played violin on the record too, on Stars Beyond the Moon. She's great. She played in the
Yeah.
band with me on these two record release shows. And I know I'm going to work with her some more on this next album. So that song may end up being on it. I don't know yet.
uh,
I thought about doing a whole bunch of Guadal songs uh, that way, and just
Mm.
sort of seeing if people wanted them. But I don't know if people want them or not. And I don't want to, sort of cannibalize my own catalog. That might be creepy. I don't know.
No, that's
What do you
actually a
think,
great
Ronnie?
I think it's a great idea. Like Richard Barone did. He
Mhm.
did that
Did he
beautiful
do that?
record. He did a beautiful record where it's just like a cello player and a violin. It's called Cool Blue Halo. Really, really beautiful.
Oh, I didn't know that's what that was.
Yeah,
Well, see,
yeah.
then
That was
they'll
a
just
long
think
time ago, though.
then they'll just think I'm copying the bongos if I do
No,
that.
no, that was, he did. That was like 25 years ago for him. So
I heard a little bit of that interview that you guys did with him, or actually, I saw a little bit of that interview. Mainly, I listened to the one. I was on my bike today. I was listening to the one that you guys did with Vicky Peterson and
oh
John Cowstill. That was
yeah,
fun.
yep.
Yeah,
They're,
that was fun.
we only have the best people on here.
Yeah,
Murray.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's a great podcast. I mean, no question about it. I mean, I knew about it before you asked me
Yeah.
to be on it. So
yeah,
that means that if I know about it, that means it's got to have some traction. 'Cause I don't know about
Thank you.
anything.
Hey, one more thing, Murray. I know we're ending here. There are two great Rhino handmade versions of the first and third Guadalcanal Diary records. That
Yeah,
was
and you
what-
know about them because you're on Omnivore too, aren't you?
I am on Omnivore, and we share that label. They did the live.
Yeah,
Go by that too, folks. The live,
yeah.
Guadalcanal Diary. Yeah.
the reunited Guadalcanal Diary record with a. They changed the cover though, Murray. You happy with that?
Hey, your
I was
birthday.
in on it. I was in
Okay.
on it. We had
Yeah,
we
yeah,
had
yeah.
to delineate from the original one, so yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for those who don't know, the Omnivore folks did Rhino. They worked at Rhino before forming
Yeah, and Rhino
Omnivore.
Handmade.
At
Yeah.
Rhino Handmade. Yeah. So
Yeah.
great versions of the first and third. Now was Jamboree. Were they going to get to Jamboree next?
Yeah, I think they were trying to hedge their bets. They knew that the first one and the third one were the best sellers in the catalog, of Electric's catalog. All those things have been all those records have been re-released like in several different iterations. Like you and I could like pool our money and go release one of them if we felt like it. They'll sell you the licensing to it. I've got there's Bellin Remasters is an outfit that does colored vinyl, and they've done a couple of them. And they were nice
that's
enough to
right.
send them to me.
He just called it quits though. Did you
Did
know
he
that?
really?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. There's a series of videos he's done about his business. He's burning all the bridges now too in these videos. Telling his story, but yeah, he did those vinyl versions. That was amongst the last he did.
It seemed like it was a labor of love. I didn't know him. He just reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm doing this. Do you have a problem with it?" I said, "No, I don't. Go for it."
Yeah.
I saw it released as a twofer one time. Like the
Yes.
first and the second one was like a twofer or something.
Yes, that's the only way to get Jamboree on CD.
Yeah,
It's on that twofer as part of that twofer.
That's right. But it's the first one and the second one, right?
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah. A label
Yeah.
called Collectibles. Yeah. Which,
Yes, that's right.
Doesn't put any.
There's talk about ruining. I'll say it. Talk about ruining cover art. They stuck a guitar on the front that nobody in my band ever played.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what it was. I think it might have been a Hagstrom Viking or something.
That's right.
Nothing against Hagstrom Vikings, but I've never owned one.
But it's in the background with the album covers. Yeah, like
yeah. It's like this is relevant.
It's what.
Come on, kids. They play this on it.
Yeah, I love Jamboree. Jamboree deserves better. That's all.
Thanks. It's a strange album.
It is strange, but
it's interesting. Yeah.
But a lot of the great Guadalcanal songs are on there. Dare I say?
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So do we get to do an interview with you where I talk to you about the muffs?
Yes. We'll do that.
Okay.
Set it up, Jeff and Soraya.
Okay.
Can the Dazzle
Yeah.
dudes interview Ronnie Barnett of the Buffs?
You bet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
We
interview
can.
y'all too. Well, let's just have it be like a free for all. But seriously, I'm thinking about it now. All right. I got to keep everybody's contact
Yeah.
handy because when I start doing that again, I'm trying to wonder how I'll work it into it though, because that's like 45 years in the past that Dazzle Dudes has taken
Sure.
place. So I don't know. We'll
Time
work it out.
machine.
Time
It'll be
Time
traveler.
like,
machine.
There you
it'll be
go.
like,
Time machine,
it'll
time travelers.
it'll be like a soap opera, like they
Yeah.
used to do in soap operas, where Erica falls asleep because she's been in a car crash. She's knocked out, and she has a dream where they're all in the future, and it's a whole season. One Life to Live. Did you guys ever watch One Life to Live? They used to have the most
I
insane
remember it.
plot lines. Yeah, the matriarch would like to have an evil twin that nobody knew about, or else
Right.
she'd go into a coma and they're back in the Wild West. Like, God, what a great device.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they had to fill an hour 5 days a week.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
they did. Fill it, they
Yeah.
did. They had me. I used to
Joint
watch that when
project.
Guadalcanal was on tour. I'd watch that during the daytime in hotel rooms. Yes, yes. Oh, finally we get to meet your evil twin.
Amazing.
See, Jeff, we're gonna have that. We're gonna have that beautiful episode. Dazzle dudes, muffs, the Dazzle muffs. In the future.
Dazzle Muffs. I love it. I love it. All right, Murray, we wanted to appreciate you for coming on. This is a great album with our listeners. If you don't have it yet, Tense Music Plays, murrayattaway.com, Bandcamp.
He signs them. He signs them too, folks.
Yeah, if I'd known it was going to you, I would put something specifically snarky on it, man. Or something complimentary.
I'll ship it back
I
to
would
you.
have said you or something like that.
Yeah.
It means mistake. It means mistake.
It means mistake. That for Christ's sakes. Yeah. I'll
Okay.
ship it back to you, Murray, and you can ship it back with that little thing you showed before.
All right.
The little
Oh,
version.
the little small one.
The
yeah,
little,
okay.
yeah,
Oh,
little
hey,
small.
you thought you were gonna sneak that in. Yeah.
You know how to find me. You can just send me your address and I'll see if I can hook you up.
All right. I'll pay. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk later.
Tell Patty DeVries that you're a writer and that you need a copy of it, and she'll get just send me your address. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Patty's done a great job of PR with this. I'm very happy to have her.
Yeah. It is different though than being on the major label, though, right, Murray? When you back when we were on the major
when you look
label,
at your bank account, it's real different.
well, yeah.
That's the place I first noticed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't want to keep cringing about that. I've actually done fine with it. It's
No.
very, 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 very different.
Yeah.
Very, very different. Yeah. But not in necessarily a bad way. It just makes you learn everything,
Yeah.
It makes you learn the way things are done now.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew a lot about the business back in the day, but Jeff Calder from the Twin Pool Q said something really interesting to me, and he said it, if you know him at all, he said it in a very Jeff Calder way. He said, "Yeah, business, regular business is exactly the same. It's totally different." I was like, "Oh, thanks, that's helpful." But he was right. I mean, I don't know how to put it. It's the same business, different tools, I guess. So,
but then
anyways.
another thing though, back in the day, Murray, you would have spent $100,000 in a real studio making this record. Though that's another big difference.
That is true. That is absolutely true. No doubt about it.
All the money we used to
have. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all your money that you didn't know was your money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll never pay back those records, but
Never, 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 never.
But we had those experiences, though. There's something to be said for that. So
yes, that's true. I would not trade them for anything. Met lots of good people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right, Soraya. I think Murray's gonna want you to close us out here because
Please. We've stepped
First
all
of
over
all,
each other long enough.
thank
Please.
so much. And then we will have you back on when the new one is done because it's already
Okay.
in progress. And
It is already in
there's
progress.
more stories to tell. And I don't know, this has been a pleasure. We can't wait to have you back on again. And thank you so much for this for this gift that you've given all of us,
Well, it's very sweet
fans
of you
of
to say that. Next
Guadalcanal.
time you got to talk
And,
more.
well, I we share a brain, so it'll
She
come out of one of our.
she sums
Okay.
everything up nicely at the end here, Murray. When you go
Wait,
away,
Okay.
so
Soraya
wait,
is
before
going to
you
lay
go
into you.
though,
Yeah,
before you go, I have to share this quote because I thought it was beautiful. So, same guy, same article about Old Christmas. This is a great way to end it. Then there's Old Christmas, a wild, genre hopping, Appalachian inspired tune born of folklore and cartoon chaos. What starts as a quirky detour swells into something oddly spiritual, even rebellious, like Tom Waits rummaging through a box of lost Rankin Bass reels.
I need to buy that guy a lunch. Uh,
That quote
that's
alone, I mean,
great.
Old Christmas is a beautiful song. It is a great song. And then when
Thanks.
he characterizes it like this, and then to hear you say, I thought it was all going to sound like Old Christmas, but then
Mm,
just evolved.
Yeah.
I'm
God,
sold. I
do
mean,
not put all those dumb rock songs in it. That's what happened. It would have sounded like Old Christmas. I just left those things out.
well,
But
I'm ready for this new one. If Old
thank you.
Christmas was kind of the seed for tense music plays, I can't wait to hear what the next one holds. So thank you so
Thank you.
much.
I think it's got more DNA with Old Christmas than this one did. So yeah.
All right. We're in. We're in.
Thank y'all.
all
Thank
right,
you.
Thanks,
thanks,
Murray.
Murray.
We really appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Thank you. Bye,
All
y'all.
right,
Bye.
goodbye. Best, honest, he started out with this golden quote. When I quit something, I really quit it. Talking about that. But
Yeah,
I mean, look, the album, this solo album, and I think I'm really happy that it's getting recognized for being a really solid, cohesive piece of work. And but one of the things that forgive me for saying, maybe like it's been a while, I forgot about. Such a good songwriter,
yeah.
such a good songwriter, and that's why like that quote that I used from that one article really hit me hard because I'm like, yes. And this guy said something else too. This piece was really good because he describes his songwriting. He says throughout tense music plays, Attaway proves he still views songwriting as both art and archaeology. And I'm like, that's pretty wild. But it's true. It's super artistic, but like he's not afraid to dig deep and kind of explore, And so, and I also thought that what he said about, oh, people never say anything about me lifting lines from poets, but the biblical
Yeah.
references, like in Old Christmas. But this is a really
No,
good
no.
album, and I'm glad. I'm glad we have it.
Yeah, no, it's a very rich work. Like this isn't tossed off songs. I mean, there's a lot of care and thought, as you say, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's deep, and it's not that I didn't expect Murray Attaway to make a great record. This really has exceeded it really exceeded my expectations. Yeah, so I keep pushing for a wider release.
Not just wider release, CD releases.
Well, yeah, but people need to hear this. Like, it's really good.
Agreed. Agreed. Yeah, and it sounds like there's already some CDs there, so just widen the availability.
You shouldn't have done
Yeah.
that. You shouldn't have done that publicly. Shouldn't have done that publicly.
He teased us by showing, for those of you just listening, he just showed
Yeah,
a CD version that Ronnie was salivating
yeah,
over. I think we
it's
all
done.
were.
It's done. It's exactly what I described. It looked like a cardboard sleeve. Yeah. Um,
Uh,
and
and
then
there's
Jeff,
other merch.
and
There's
there's other
shirts.
merch. Yes. Yeah, Jeff, you mentioned the spirituality in the lyrics. I never thought about that before, but now I'm getting old
Mhm.
Guadalcanal Diary lyrics in my head. Like, yeah, yeah, there's just some sub touches here. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it's sprinkled here and there, and it's not evangelistic by any
Mhm.
means, but just biblical
right.
references. I mean, he also he was mentioning literary references too. So, I mean, other literary references as
Right.
well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah.
sounds like a well-read person. More so than one of us on this podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, he's no Randy Stonehill or something.
No, by no means.
It's
By
me throwing out a reference there.
You know, and like one last thing that he said, Jeff, about old Christmas, he said these are all lines that mean something to me, and I think we could say that about all his songs. Like there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yeah.
As although in Spanish, in Spanish literature, we talk about falsa modestia, like this is kind of like modesty aside, kind of downplaying it. But no, these are really thoughtful words put together, and also the arrangement, everything. And I also find it kind of cool that he's got not only the engineer, but his wife going, hey, yeah, when something's not working, yeah, bring in somebody else.
Oh,
Like bring in somebody else to do the drums.
you gotta
So
you gotta bounce ideas off people. It's always a good idea to do that, even it's you know even if it's people close to you. Jeff knows that. Jeff makes records.
well, like the two of you. I mean, you two have been in bands. I haven't,
Yeah,
but I also like when I do things that are important to me, I pass it on to people that
yeah,
I expect to give me some harsh truth so that it turns into something good. And I'm sure you both can rattle off a couple of names of people who, hey, listen to this and give me your honest opinion. Know that you're gonna get it.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sending my EP to Don Dixon to get feedback, but I mean, more like my mom and my Uncle Brian. But I don't have that Don Dixon to send something to. But yeah, yeah.
So
No,
Ronnie, were you at that the show, the Guadalcanal show that he mentioned? Was it Houston or Austin?
yeah. It was Houston. It was
Is
so
the Houston show?
it was Dream. It was out of the gray era. Dream Syndicate,
That is
Guadalcanal Diary
I
in the
remember.
middle, and then like I say, the hard rock TSOL, not the
So
punk
well,
rock,
that's
Oh,
the Enigma
one
era
crazy night.
TSOL. It just I remember at the time I think I still have a flyer for it.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even at the time, I was like, "This is a weird." I'm going to go to this, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's just TSOL that was kind of the weird one out,
That's a wild
And
lineup.
again, this is not the punk TSOL. They had a hard rock lineup.
But still,
The singer Jack had gone away, and there was a place with this guy Joe Wood. They had long hair, and they were glammed out, and they made a couple records for Enigma in the mid
Yeah.
'80s there. But yeah, it was yeah, and then I got to see him one other time, Guadalcanal Diary. I drove to Austin to see him at Liberty Lunch, one of my favorite clubs of all time. Just
Oh.
yeah, I agree. He alluded to it there a bit, but just great live band. I don't know if there's much live footage online, but really great live band, and I really meant it when I said the players are just everybody was fun to watch, and just I love that band. If you couldn't tell, I'm sorry I kept trying to talk about Guadalcanal Diary, Murray. It's one of my favorite bands. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. No, great band.
and you
Yeah,
made a
for
good
sure.
point about Jamboree, that Jamboree needed.
Well, yeah. See, I know the catalog, even the reissues. This is how what a fan I am.
What
And
is
the
and what
live,
what does exist?
the
Yeah.
live reunion album.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
live reunion at your birthday party, I think is what it's
Yeah,
called.
yeah, yeah. So
Mhm.
And
they put it out themselves, and then
Yeah.
you guys became label mates when Omnivore
yeah,
reissued that in 20.
yeah, I'm the board did it about what 6 years ago, something like that.
I think it's close to 10, maybe.
Oh my God, yeah, time
Really?
flies.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can say it here, Jeff. I've never said this publicly. There's something I noticed about the Omnivore release that
The
I
spine?
I told them immediately. Yeah, the spine. There's a misspell. They misspelled Guadalcanal on the spine.
What?
No one's ever brought it up other than me.
So you kind of alluded to that during the interview
I
when you talked
did. I
about
did.
misspellings of
Yeah,
the band's name. So
I
even
did.
even your label did that to them.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And I'm such a graphics guy. I look at everything. When I first get it, I noticed it right off the bat. Boom.
well,
Yeah.
Dang.
I think there's an extra A in there, I think, on canal.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
The,
but
the word is longer. I
Yeah.
remember. I know that. I know
As if Guadalcanal
that.
wasn't long enough to
Yeah.
begin with. So
Yeah.
at least it wasn't, what did he say? Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Guadalajara Diary.
Guadalajara
Guadalajara.
Diary. Yeah. God, I know that. I know it must have happened a lot. It had to happen a lot. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, the marquees, the newspaper. Yeah, the press.
So to our listeners, I recommend that you go to murrayattaway.com, Bandcamp. You could preview it on Bandcamp.
Yep.
It's a great record, and even if you
Yeah.
don't have a turntable, you could buy the vinyl and download the music. And
Mhm.
I definitely kept referencing Dazzle Dudes. It's a very fun podcast where
Yes.
Murray does all the characters, and there's probably a couple dozen characters, and he does all the voices, including the band, the label, girlfriends, the mother. Um,
It's a
they
fun listen.
it's a fun listen, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's only like 15 minutes an episode ish. And two seasons of that. I think there's about 24 episodes a season.
And
Hopefully
you
it'll come
don't
back
know.
where they time travel and Dazzle Dudes interview Ronnie Barnett of the Muffs.
And
If
try and
that
bring him on.
if that
Yeah.
happens, then I can move on to the next realm in this world. That would be amazing. So
My gosh.
Ah,
But this was very cool. And thank you once again, Ronnie, because this
yes.
was
nope.
a wonderful idea. Bringing
Yes.
Murray
Thanks
on.
for having me on yet again, folks.
Ooh,
Yeah.
see?
I know it's not my podcast, but thank you.
It is though.
There's more to come, folks.
That's what
Just
we
wait.
want.
Jeff and Soraya don't even know yet. Just wait.
Yeah.
Hey, we're just here.
All
We
right,
didn't work
sorry.
here. Oh my gosh, Jeff, I don't want to stop it, but I think we're gonna have to. Mi gente. Arruiar.
Groove on, Paisley people.
Who if we are? Groove on, folks. Oh yeah, the gallery. The gallery is
Yeah.
always yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
What are you drinking,
better.
Murray? Coffee? You drinking coffee?
Coffee. Yes. sir.
Nice. Just late in the
You want
afternoon.
some?
I do. Even this late in the
Okay.
afternoon. Yeah.
Better go get it then. I'll mail you some.
Yeah.
Thanks
Good luck,
again.
Murray.
All
This is
right.
fun. All right. Bye.
Take care.
All right. This is where we talk about you, Murray.
Yeah, I know it. This is where I hang around to see if you talk about me. This ain't my first rodeo, hot shot.
This is where Soraya, comes alive.
Yeah. All right. I'm out. Bye.
Soraya, what about this
Bye,
guy?
thanks.
What about this guy, Soraya?
Oh my gosh. Where I come alive.